communication strategy is designed to help you and your organization communicate effectively and to meet key organizational objectives. In this video, we look at 8 key elements of a communication strategy. Thank you for tuning into my channel. Remember to subscribe for more videos like this. Now to the 8 steps or elements to writing your communication strategy. First, statement of purpose. It's useful to state upfront why you want to develop a communication strategy and what you hope to achieve with it. This acts as a reference and reminder for those using it in their work. For example, you could say, this communication strategy shows how effective communications can help us engage effectively with our stakeholders, or how it helps us ensure people understand what we do. Whatever your overall purpose is what you clarify in this step. Second, current situation analysis. The introductory part of your communication strategy should briefly outline what your organization does, what its main functions are, and where it operates. That is your location. If at all you are physical, or even if you're online, you have to explain about your organization. You should also look at your organization's communication strengths, what has been successful and what hasn't worked well over the last 5 years or so. To help analyze your organization's current situation, you may consider using tools like pest analysis, SWOT analysis, and competitor analysis. Let me briefly explain these tools. The pest analysis looks at political, economic, social, and technological factors that could affect your organization's work. These could be positive or negative factors. For example, in Kenya now, under political environment, you might include upcoming change of government and need to build contacts with new governors, members of parliament, and civil servants. If you particularly work with the public sector, whether it is state corporations or the mainstream government or corporate government, then you have to recognize that this is a major change that you need to acknowledge and have a plan for. How will you reconnect? How will you build networks with the new leaders in the new government so that you can continue to operate in an environment of positive interactions? You need to understand the new government's policy agenda also and what its implications are for your organization agenda. The SWOT analysis, on the other hand, looks at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Think about what this means in terms of your communications priorities. How can threats be turned into opportunities? How can you play on your strengths through effective communications? The competitor analysis tool is basically to look at your competitors, to recognize in every industry, no matter what you do, there are people who are either competing or maybe operating in the same environment. What are they doing? Can you look at all of them and rank them based on their likely impact on your objectives? That is part of how we go about a competitor analysis. In this video, we cannot go into very great details about that. I'll do that in another video in future. Now let's go to the third step. Third is communication objectives. You need to ensure alignment between your organizational objectives and your communication objectives. Any communication strategy should closely reflect your overall organizational vision and mission. You should then propose how communications can help deliver these goals. Your communications objectives should be seen to contribute to the achievement of the overall organization's objectives. Communication objectives should be SMART, as in S for specific and clear, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for realistic, and T for time bound. Fourth, identify stakeholders. In the fourth step, you should define your target audiences. You need to give a detailed description of both internal and external stakeholders. Who do you want to reach with your message? Refer to your objectives, because once you are clear about it, it becomes very clear who you need to direct your communication to. This might include customers, distributors, agents, donors, staff, politicians, and the general public. But this always depends on the nature of your organization and the kind of people you interact with, those who you need to receive your messages. Understanding which audiences will be interested in which parts of your organization or activities will make it easier to prioritize your communications. Another way to prioritize your audiences is stakeholder mapping. This involves choosing criteria which are important to your organization and then ranking your different audiences against those criteria. This can help show you the most important audiences and therefore who you should be spending most of your communication effort on. Number 5 is messages. The 5th step concerns how you will develop messages to connect with your audiences. Once you have identified your audiences, the next task is to break down your objectives into relevant messages for each of those audiences. The message is the idea or information that you want to convey to your target audience. Start with the audiences that are the highest priority. Ensure that your messages are relevant and appropriate to each audience. The messages need to be clearly tailored to different audiences. Think of audiences based on what they need to know. To be persuasive, your message needs to follow the principles of the AIDA model. This works to get interest, attention, and get people to take the action that you intend. AIDA model stands for A for attention, I for interest, D for desire, and A for action. Because effective communication gets attention, creates interest, and actually rubs the person to the point where they feel they want to take action. 6 key communication methods. For each audience identified, you should identify the most appropriate channels for communicating with them. This might include leaflet, press release, an e-bulletin, Zoom meeting, conference, exhibitions, roadshows, workshop, events, media, social media, and even your website. When selecting channels, you need to consider what you want in terms of reach and frequency, message focus and target group, as well as cost effectiveness. Each channel has different strengths, and therefore you need to use multiple channels in order to reinforce the message. You can do a simple internal analysis of the channels to see which are the best to use for getting specific messages to particular audiences. You may want to include supplementary strategies for your online media presence and direct messaging. Once you have selected the channels available, you will begin to construct your communication plan by linking target audiences, messages, and channels. 7th is the work plan. With your audiences and key communication methods identified, the next step is to draw up a table that indicates the key communication activities, budget, and resources allocated to delivering the strategy. Consider the communications team and their experience as a key resource. The work plan should also include proposed timescales and particular milestones within the strategy. This will allow you to measure progress towards the ultimate communication goals. 8th is evaluating success. Your communication strategy should conclude with a section on evaluation. What does success look like? And how will you know when objectives have been met? It's important to decide how you will assess the effectiveness of your communication. Evaluation is important as it helps you to determine the success of the message conveyed in achieving the objective of communication. Feedback is crucial in helping you understand if your message was well understood and accepted as intended. It helps you to know the extent to which your communication objectives were met. In this step, you should indicate the tools you will use to evaluate various sections of your communications. These could be simple measures such as number of responses to message, hits to your website, number of reviews, or increases in donations following a mail out or a message that you sent out. How often were your key messages mentioned? And has there been a shift in public attitude on issues you've been campaigning for? You should include milestones in your evaluation section so that you can measure progress towards the ultimate goals. There you have it. That is communication strategy 8 steps. To sum up, the 8 steps are: 1. Statement of purpose. 2nd, current situation analysis. 3rd, communication objectives. 4th, identifying stakeholders. 5, messages. 6, key communication methods. 7, work plan. And 8, evaluating success. Thank you for watching this video. If you have not subscribed yet, do subscribe now so that you don't miss any of the videos we post on Mondays and Thursdays. All the best. We all need to elevate our mindsets at this time.